So my friend on the left recommended a video from the left side, and I do like to look at these too, because I actually am interested in like what people on the left think. So we do watch a lot of videos that are kind of more by sort of center/right people. So let's watch something on the left side. And I'm going to give my absolute honest take, like I always do. I always tell you exactly how I feel about something. I don't really care if people agree with me or not. I always tell it how I feel. Like I give you my honest take on everything. How I joined and left the far right by Portable Orange. Yeah. Actually, this video pretty huge. So let's
in 2012, the first
election. Check it out. I actually have never seen this, but what I was told is that this is something good for me to watch because it shows some perspective on the left side of things, and I'm interested in that. I want to know. Right? So let's check it out together. Here we go.
I could ever vote in, I voted for Mitt Romney. In 2016, I supported Donald Trump. In 2018, I wanted America to be a white nation. And in
Wait, what?
In 2018, I wanted America to be a white nation.
Okay, so you're already retarded. Wait, what do you mean by that, though? Like, what does he mean by that, right? Because, like, am I going to take that in, like, the most literal way? Hold on. Wait a minute. Wait. Okay, that was a lot, guys. That was a lot for, like, the first 10 seconds. Okay? That was a lot for the first 10 seconds. Hold on. So the reason... Okay. Why I'm asking what he means by that is, like, does he mean that, like, okay, right? Because I can see people twisting this, right? By saying, like, oh, well, I wanted America to remain, like, kind of culturally America. That's a completely different thing by, like, I want racial purity. Can you guys see the two? But can you see how, like, the left could conflate that? That, like, oh, well, the culture of America is, like, Western, like, European, from settlers who, like, came from Europe, and European Christian settlers who came from the UK, came from England. And then they came here, and then they set up colonies, right? And that was, like, kind of the culture, and that's where the culture of America expanded from. Now, do you mean by you want it to be a white country in that terms? Like, are they talking about American culture as being white, or are they talking about the people themselves, right? Because I don't think those two are the same. But I can see how people could... Yeah, I wish I could ask him. Like, I really wish, like, there was more clarification. Maybe there will be in the future. We'll see, right? We'll see the rest of the video. But I'm already like, bro, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, I'm already like, whoa.
Ever vote in, I voted for Mitt Romney. In 2016, I supported Donald Trump.
I'm not gonna lie, the first thing I thought, I was like, oh, so this is retarded. That's, like, the first thing I thought.
In 2018, I wanted America to be a white nation.
Judging by the Hitler flash in the background, I don't know. He might be clickbaiting, though. He might be clickbaiting. I don't know. Let's hear him out.
In 2024, I was genuinely excited to vote for Joe Biden for a second time.
It's truly the retard's path. Whew. Unreal, man.
My political journey is one that I think not many people have been on. So I figured I'd share my story because every single take that
it's because Joe Biden said, if you don't vote for him, you ain't black. And he was like, oh, that's my dude. Maybe that's what happened. I don't know.
I have
I'm just
seen
joking.
on social media these past 2 weeks.
I don't know. We'll find out. We'll go deeper into it.
Does not resonate with me or my experience at all. Also, to be cute, I made this little board so we can track my political journey together.
Okay, nice.
For those who don't know, this is the political compass.
I need that. I need the visual. So I appreciate this.
Where the y-axis is authoritarian to libertarian, and the x-axis is left to right. Normally economic, but for this we'll do social. I started my political journey somewhat conservative. Let's say here.
Okay.
I was raised Catholic and actually went to church every Sunday. Raised as such, around 13, I opposed abortion and gay marriage. Growing church every Sunday. Raised as such, around 13, I opposed abortion and gay marriage.
The first one's really based.
Growing up in the 90s, I was also a huge nerd. I read every fantasy book I could get my
Oh yeah, oh man. What's next? Warhammer 40k LARPing?
hands on. Seven Tower, Del Toro series, and Redwall because Mouse Jesus, as well as sci-fi novels like Artemis Fowl and the like. I was also really, really into video games, though I only had a couple of them. The game I played the most, and to this day, my favorite game,
let's hear it,
is a JRPG called Radiata Stories, which I
actually never played that. I've seen it though. I've seen it around, but I've never played it.
guarantee none of you have heard of. So here's where we start. I really only care about 2 issues, and my hobbies are fantasy and escapism.
Wait, hold on.
I really only care about 2 issues.
You only care about abortion and gay marriage? Interesting.
And my hobbies are fantasy and escapism. My high school was fairly political, and I'd have a lot of arguments with my classmates. My friend group was fairly liberal, but none of them really seemed to have a problem with my more conservative ideas. Back in my hometown, I'd actually been...
things have changed. How things have changed over the years, guys. That's crazy.
been a theater kid. Not to brag or anything, but
what do you say?
Back in my hometown, I'd actually been a theater kid. Not to
yeah.
brag or anything, but I'd been the lead in my middle school musical twice. I continued my theatrical pursuits in high school, and in a twist anyone could have seen coming, I ended up hanging out with quite a lot of gay and queer kids. I saw...
You don't say. So you were a theater kid, and you hung out with a lot of gay people. That tracks. Yeah, fair enough. I can see it.
Saw the relationships they'd form, and they didn't really feel any different from the relationships I saw straight kids forming around the same time. That, coupled with becoming friends with them, shifted my politics a bit. Although I'm fairly certain there was a period where I was in the civil unions are okay, but not gay marriage phase. And I can't remember if that ended in...
I don't get that. Is it just a definitional difference? The civil unions thing? I mean, my take on it is very simple. It's like, if they're going to have a governmental benefit to it, then it should be available to everybody. It's very simple. It's like, it just makes sense. If you're going to like have a tax benefit, then it should be applied equally to everybody. Anything that the government does should be applied equally. So if people have a problem with it and they think that it's going to be for raising of children, then they should move the tax benefit to children rearing and children making. Spawning babies should be where the tax benefit comes instead of the marriage part.
High school or college, but...
If the religious didn't want gay marriage, they shouldn't have let the governmental union as marriage. Yeah, exactly. Actually, I agree with that. What Shai said, that if they're gonna, either marriage is either you use the term marriage for governmental stuff, or you make it strictly religious, I think. And then if it's strictly religious, right? Like if say like gay marriage, marriage is like a religious like thing only, then I think that the individual religions can do, like, they can do whatever they want with it, right? So you can have like Christian, like more like conservative Christian, because, you know, again, there's like so many denominations of this is the thing that people don't understand too about Christianity, is there's like a million different flavors of it. Like there's so many kinds of Christianity in terms of like how people interpret things is really different. So if they wanted to, you could leave that up to like the individual religious institution. But once you tie it to government, right? You tie it to government and you're affording special privileges to marriage, then that has to be available to everybody. That has to be fair. That's my take on it. So like for me, my personal belief is that again, like I said, that the tax benefit, like marriage should be strictly a religious thing, and that the tax benefit from marriage should be removed and moved to like rearing of children, basically. That like once you do have a kid, then like we can give like pretty good tax benefits, because you can make an argument that the rearing of children is important for the it's important for the continuance of humanity, right? So you can make an argument that it's for the good of everybody that we're creating more people. So that's my argument for it.
Somewhere in that area. High school was also my first interaction with a trans person. One of my friends, who I had assumed was just a cis lesbian, told me at one point that they were actually a man. The really funny thing is, though, I totally accepted this and moved on. I think I even said something like, "Oh, well, that makes sense. You know, there are male brains and female brains, so it would make sense that you could have been born with a male brain in a female body." In the modern context, it's kind of funny to think of a person being opposed to gay marriage but accepting of trans people.
Opposed to gay marriage but accepting of trans people? No, they're not the same. Because again, like I said earlier, we're talking about an institution with tax benefits. So I can actually see that. Like, for me, that makes sense. But then again, it's like I said, I think through these things a lot, right? And it's like, I can see a world in which you could be against, hold on, wait. Let me be clear on this. You could be against gay marriage, but hold on. I might have just brain fucked myself. Hold on. Okay, so he's against gay marriage, but for trans stuff? Yeah, I can see that. If your point of view is that marriage, if your point of view is that marriage benefits should go to the rearing of children, or no, sorry, if hold on, if your argument is that marriage, because marriage between men and women create children, therefore that union should be buffed, then I can see how you could reconcile that with also being okay with trans people. Again, not what I believe, right? I already told you guys what I believe. It's not that. But you can reconcile that, like, logically. So, yeah.
But the truth is, I had just never been exposed to the concept. So when I first met someone who was trans, I really had no reason to object to it. In 2008, I supported John McCain for president, though obviously I was too young to vote. I supported him because of his plan to build nuclear reactors. And I supported that because I understood the economic implications, and not just because I thought a lot of nuclear reactors sounded cool. When Obama won, I was disappointed, but I took it in stride as best I could, and life went on. It was in high school I also got really online in a way that I hadn't before. In fact, the B board on 4chan, got really big at my school. As a result,
what have we done? What have we done to humanity? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, chat. I'm sorry for all of this. Even though I'm not directly responsible, I'm still sorry. Mighty Germ, apologize to humanity for helping to create 4chan. Moot, look what have you done. To be fair, I didn't really know Moot. I didn't really talk to Moot, to be fair. Yeah.
Me and my friends developed a fairly dark and edgy sense of humor, although, to be fair, it was mostly just this meme. My identification with the label nerd also really solidified around this time. My friends and I would get together for LANs of Dota, Counter-Strike, and even Halo, games which to this day I am completely trash at. But it was really nice to find a community of nerds who liked the same stuff I did. By the time I graduated high school, I had changed quite a bit politically. I was maybe here around that time. Still fairly conservative on a lot of issues, but a bit more libertarian. Being interested in theater and film as well at this point, I decided to go to Los Angeles for college. Also because I really seem to love...
Oh my god, everyone I know that went to Los Angeles for college got freaking mentally blown up.
blue states for some reason.
Oh,
and this
no.
was around when the Occupy Wall Street movement was popping off. For those who don't know, the Occupy Wall Street was a movement of people who were upset that the banks had never really been punished for the 2008 financial crisis.
You know what? Honestly, kind of fair. Kind of fair. I'm not a big fan of bailing out these people that fucked up. They fucked up. That was their fault. I don't know why my money has to go towards subsidizing their stupidity. Thank you for the bits, Honorable Crow Muffin. Thank you so much.
Instead, getting a famous bailout. I vaguely knew
it was a psyop. That was not Occupy. Was it about? Well, I'm just taking him at face
economy
value.
had tanked right when
obviously, if it's about greed and like, oh, like I want what they have, then obviously I'm against that. But if it's against, I don't like bailouts in general. I think that if a company fucks up, then that's what it means to be like in a free market. You fuck up, then too bad. Get good.
Entered high school, but I was in high school. I didn't really care about the economy, so I never really looked into it. Even though Occupy was undoubtedly a left-wing movement, it didn't really drag me to the left per se. If anything, it just made me less trustful of institutions, something which, to be fair, I was kind of already leaning towards.
I'm not a big fan of the government either.
Regardless, college started and I made a bunch of new friends. Even got into my first real relationship around this time.
Ooh.
With a thriving social life, I found myself online less and less. And most of my friends weren't on the scary anonymous image board, so I got into Reddit. I kept up my trend of
Oh no!
arguing politics with my friends, as most of them, again, were quite liberal. In 2012, when Obama was up for re-election, I supported Mitt Romney. Interestingly, I supported Mitt Romney because of his health care plan. Because as governor of Massachusetts, he instituted this thing called Romney Care. I'm fairly certain my girlfriend supported Obama, but we watched the election results come in together, and even though Romney lost, we were able to still, have a civil discussion and be okay with each other. End of sophomore year, I'm like,
you might not like this, chat. People might not like this, but do you want a tip for not having a terrible relationship? Here's a tip. Don't date someone that is politically opposite of you, because it's going to be nothing but hell. This applies to both if you're left or right. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. I don't like self-harm in this chat, okay, guys? No self-harm, so I wouldn't do that. But you can be friends with people, but like I think like a relationship sort of marriage setup is asking for hell in like a year. Yeah. If you don't have like similar like a moral framework, then it's not good. It's gonna lead to like lots of fighting.
Here, maybe. Not really much movement. Mostly just
Dress as my wife is a dem, but we have been fine for 8 years. Wait, Gun, you had 8 years to convert her? What are you doing, Gun?
A little bit more libertarian. That summer, my girlfriend and I broke up. This was rough for a number of reasons, but to be fair, it had been my idea. That
you can
combined
fix her?
with my
all right, I trust.
naturally argumentative.
We just aren't very political. You know what? That is a case where it can work. Gun, that's true. That is a place where that can work.
Nature meant that my friends started to sour on me. Eventually it got...
Still, though, I don't think it's a good risk. Just personally. I think it's very risky.
So bad, I didn't feel comfortable in my own dorm room, which I shared with 2 of them at the time. As I was not interacting with people as much, I ended up spending more and more time online. And then Gamergate happened. This is an important part of my story, but if you've basically just heard too much about Gamergate and you're sick of it, feel free to skip to here.
No, I
For
want to
everyone
hear
else,
about it.
let me set the stage, but with a caveat. The version of Gamergate that I'm about to present to you is the version that I believed at the time. Since then, I have changed my view on what happened, but for the story...
Wait, what? So he's... Hold on. Okay, let's just hear him out.
My version of events is much more important than reality. Gamergate, as I understood it, was about a woman named Zoe Quinn who had released a video game called Depression Quest. This was a fairly bad game, but it received pretty good reviews, which wasn't super weird at the time because gaming journalism was already something of a joke at this point. However, chat logs were leaked by her ex-boyfriend where she admitted to sleeping with 5 other guys.
Man. Salt and vinegar fries, am I right, guys?
Some of them while she was still with her ex. And one
that was nasty. That was a nasty joke. Okay, I admit it. I'm sorry. I apologize to everybody for that one.
Of them had reviewed Depression Quest. This is what I thought at the time. And I wasn't even actually mad at Zoe Quinn.
They have salt and vinegar fries at Five Guys if you've never been there. It's one of the things. They have vinegar for the fries.
I was actually mad at the guy who supposedly reviewed her game, Nathan Grayson. This culminated in many posts attacking Zoe, attacking Nathan, attacking pretty much anyone involved in the story.
They are good, yeah.
However, the interesting part is I didn't actually care at this point. Because again, to me and many others, gaming journalism was dead. There was really no point in it anyway. But then threads started getting pruned and comments started getting deleted. Mods even posting about how talking about Gamergate wasn't allowed. This happened even on 4chan of all places. On V. Blue board indeed.
On 4chan.
Quickly for me, this became an issue of censorship. Why was 4chan, this bastion of free speech and libertarianism of all places, not allowing people to talk about a current event? In addition, you'd have people like Anita Sarkeesian going on shows like The Colbert Report, at the time one of my favorite shows, and talking about how actually we were all just a bunch of angry gamer guys who wanted women out of our space.
Why do you think women are being threatened in this exchange?
I think women are perceived as threatening because we are asking for games to be more inclusive. We're asking for games to acknowledge that we exist and that we love games.
Why not just have a
Why can't you just play the game? What? Why can't you just play it? Just play the game. Like, just play it. It's just, if you like the games, then play the games. Like, what are we talking about?
separate game? Have separate but equal games.
This is a community I'd basically been a part of my whole life, and a community I'd suffered to be a part of. I was a gamer when it wasn't cool to be a gamer, when you got made fun of for it. And
me too. Me too.
And to then be told that I'm making this space worse, that I'm keeping women out of this space.
Penguin Lee, thank you for the prime. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, man.
Naturally,
I was gatekeeping myself.
really started to hate the people telling me that.
Dude, you want to know what's ridiculous about this? I'm going to just tell you like my experience from this. Nobody cared. No, guys, nobody gave a shit. If you were a girl and you were playing games, okay. There are some caveats, but generally people don't give a shit, basically. As long as like you're into the games, you're actually into the games, you're interested in the games, then people are okay with it. They're just like, whatever. Like, you're just like playing with us. Like, they don't care, right? Spirit Box, thank you so much for the prime. Thank you, I really appreciate it. Now, you want to know what people do care about? You guys want to know? I'll tell you. Okay, this is my experience, because you have to understand, I played in arcades. I played in a lot of arcades. I knew a lot of people. I was in the tournament scene. I knew a lot of these people. I knew a lot of like video game people, right? It's like I said, like I know like Mike Ross and like a bunch of people. I knew Gutex, the pod guy. I knew him. So like, let me explain, okay? People like when you play games, guys don't give a shit. If like you're just like, I'm here to play the games. If you're there to play the games and like you have a love for the game, people don't care. They'll be like, oh great, like that's awesome. Like, like come play with us. They're fine with that. You want to know what people don't like? You want to know what gamers don't like? Hey guys, oh my god, I'm like a girl and I'm playing games. Isn't that so cool? Don't you guys like it when I play games? Hey guys, are you guys playing games? Me too. I totally play games too. That's what guys don't like.
This is one of the first times I started to feel genuinely crazy, because I felt as though I had very legitimate concerns, but was told that I was sexist for even voicing those concerns, which again, were concerns against men, not women. And this started to bleed out into my real life too. I remember having a conversation with one of my teachers in college from a studies course, which was basically like, let's watch a film and let's analyze it, but not from like a filmmaking perspective, from like, and we were watching Kill Bill Volume 1, at the time one of my favorite films, and we were specifically analyzing the end of the movie. And my teacher made the claim that the end of this movie was racist and enforced imperialist ideas because the white woman triumphed in the samurai sword fight over the Asian.
Oh my god. That's crazy, man. Damn.
Woman, and the Asian woman even says something like, you bested me or something like that.
Okay,
I raise my hand and point out that the Asian character, played by Lucy Liu, is very explicitly supposed to be half Chinese, half American. And she just said to me, well, she's Asian, so she's closer than the white woman. And any Western audience
so true
watching this scene is going to have her interpretation and not mine. And I
Cho Chang, domo arigato, Cho Chang. Happy New Year, Cho Chang.
I can't really remember what happened after that, but instances like that became more and more.
Yes, you guys see that? Hold on. It's so good. Hold on.
Very explicitly supposed to be half Chinese, half American. And she just said to me, well,
Friend?
Do you guys hear music or something?
Music? What are you talking about? Yeah, someone's coming. Someone's coming.
By the way, this is the same people who made Twisted. Twisted, the musical we watched with Jafar? This is the same people.
Happy New Year, Who's that?
That's Cho Chang. That's the girl Harry's totally been in love with since freshman year.
Yeah, but he won't say anything to her.
Well, yeah, you never tell a girl you like them. It makes you look like an idiot. What?
Konnichiwa, Cho Chang. It is good to meet you. I am Ginny Weasley. Bitch, I ain't Cho Chang.
That's Lavender Brown. Racist, sister. Racist.
I'm Cho Chang, y'all.
It's so good.
Common, and I so often would
Fucking cinema, man.
be like just in my head about what I was doing. So naturally, just to feel like a shred of sanity, I began to turn to spaces that did talk about this kind of stuff. Around this time, I think I was watching a lot of like Sargon of Akkad and Internet Aristocrat, who's now known as Mr. Medicare. And these people were talking about Gamergate in a way that resonated with my understanding of what was going on in the world at the time. Sargon of Akkad was interesting because he was from the UK. And so as time went on, he started talking about this wave of migrants that were coming into Europe and sort of destroying European culture, which also got me into watching people like Lauren Southern, who famously also was opposed to some of the migration coming into Europe at the time. So now I've graduated college and I'm, let's say, around here. I still think of myself as libertarian, but with my thoughts on immigration and feminism, I've certainly shifted a bit more to the right. Over the course of senior year, I've been able to get an internship at Machinima, at the time, internet nerd mecca. I also reconnected with some people that I had known throughout college, but hadn't been part of that.
I remember Machinima. There was like one like org that like reached out to me. I ended up going with Curse though. There's no Curse. I used to be under the Curse network. Did you guys know that? A long time ago.
Kind of core friend group. And I ended up kind of getting welcomed into their friend group. So, hey, I had friends again. With my bills taken care of and a bunch of friends, again, I wasn't spending so much time on the internet. As I still loved talking politics, I'd talk it with them all the time. But this time, the result was I actually started to shift a bit more to the left, or at least the center. One of them actually convinced me to start supporting unions, something I've been quite opposed to up until that time, by pointing out that the concept of collective bargaining was actually fairly important when you're talking about balancing power structures, appealing to my more libertarian nature. Because of my experience in high school, I'd also never stopped supporting trans rights. And I honestly think that that specific opinion is what allowed so many of my much more liberal friends to sort of look past a lot of my other politics, because to their mind, at least, I supported this one position that they considered extreme.
Oh, see, you can't even do that anymore. You can't even do that anymore, because like if you disagree with the kid thing, then that's like, man, it's over for you.
Important. So honestly, a pretty big shift. I think right now is probably around here, let's say. Remember, these are all just kind of approximations anyway. In the 2016 presidential primaries, my friends all went for Bernie Sanders, and I did as well. Especially when I heard about him talking about breaking up the banks. It was like I was suddenly back in 2011, you know? Occupy would not die. When he finally conceded to Hillary Clinton, my friends and I were heartbroken. You know, we had really
more
thought
like
this
he got cucked, right?
man was about to bring about a revolution. But at the end of the day, we all just resigned ourselves that, you know, we had to vote for her because the Republican nominee more and more was looking like it was going to be Donald Trump. Remember, up to this point, I actually had very few political convictions. At this point, all that was really left was supporting gay marriage, being against abortion, being against censorship.
Wait, supporting? So, supporting it, being okay. Okay, he doesn't like abortion, and what else?
And being anti-establishment. Trump also talked about...
Wait, is that me? Hold on.
All that was really left was supporting gay marriage, being...
I'm neutral on gay marriage in the sense that I think I made my peace on it already. I'm for it in the sense of like for government stuff. I think that it should be even. Like I said, it should be equal. All relationships should be equal in the government thing. I've already said that. I'm not gonna beat a dead horse.
Being against abortion, being against censorship.
Yeah, I don't like baby killing.
Anti-establishment.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Trump also talked about a big, beautiful border wall, and I began to think back to what I had learned about immigration when I was listening to Sargon of Akkad. It had already destroyed Europe, and I really didn't want it to destroy America either, so even this policy sounded pretty good.
Yeah.
To throw in congressional term limits.
I mean, it worked on the Titans, right? Kind of worked. Oh my God, I just realized it. Hold on. The wall, oh my God, guys. The wall worked on the Titans until they snuck a couple in and they blew it up from the inside. Oh shit.
Slashing government spending, frankly, slashing the government as a whole.
I know they didn't really blow it up from the inside. They blew it from the outside, but you know, they were hiding inside of the walls.
Establishment me was liking Trump more and more. By the time the first presidential debate rolled around, I was pretty sure I was going to be voting for the guy. And soon enough, I was arguing with my friends and my family and frankly, anyone who would argue with me about Donald Trump. And everyone kind of started giving me the side eye. To everyone around me, I was suddenly incredibly far right, but I knew.
Because you didn't vote for the person that has a vagina, so you're a bad person.
Wasn't. I was a centrist, if not a little bit to the left. And all this hate and censorship was being directed at me for supporting a guy who, in my mind, was closer to Bernie Sanders than Hillary Clinton. One of my friends, my ex-roommate actually, worked with me at the time. I can still recall how shocked he was when he found out I supported Trump. And as he told the rest of my old friend group, slowly they started to distance themselves from me. And then Trump won. When returns came in, I was still at work. And everyone
huge fucking W. Huge.
Around me at work was obviously quite upset. And I sort of was having to hide my power level. But I was getting texts from friends trying to be like, you know, oh, tell me this won't be as bad. I even had a girl I'd been seeing.
Yeah, there were, dude, you guys are like, it was crazy. Like I had like some of my friends, well, not really like specifically my friends, but people like in my friend group basically were saying like I'm afraid for my parents because my parents are Asian and they're going to get killed because they live in a white town. People literally said that, by the way, back then. Like, actually. I thought it was so fucking mentally ill, to be honest. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? What? What do you mean your parents are going to get killed by white people? What are you talking about? What the hell?
The long distance reach back out to try and reconnect with me. It feels bad because now I'm on the other side. And especially in 2024, I now sympathize with the people who are...
Hold on. Real quick, yo. How many Asians were killed because Trump became president? How many Asians were killed by white people due to racism because Trump became president? There are no comprehensive verified data that provides an exact number of Asians killed by white people due to racism, but the FBI reported 131 anti-Asian hate crimes. Okay. The 131 anti-Asian hate crimes. How many were committed by white people? Wait, what? 1%? 1% were Asian? Like, we got some Asian on Asian violence going on here. 1.1% of Asian hate crime incidents were committed by Asians. Man, Asian on Asian violence, man, that's crazy. Yeah, Asians are kind of racist to other Asians, I'm gonna be real. Without specific data isolating the anti-Asian incidents by perpetrators, we can estimate based on the overall trend, assuming the racial distribution. Wait, what? Hold up. Overall hate crime offender demographics. Wait. Ooh, okay. Uh-oh. You know what? I don't want to go into this chat.
Heartbroken because now I feel like I know what that feels like a little more. But unless you were a Trump supporter, man, you
I don't like noticing, guys. I don't like it.
Just cannot imagine how magical that night was. I still to this day
basically don't look up. Roadrunner, thank you for the bits. Thank you so much. Don't look up like the percentages of like which. Do not look up the percentages of hate crimes, of like perpetrators of hate crimes. Definitely don't look that up.
We'll go back and look up the Dame Pesos election meltdown video or the the Year 4chan 1 or stuff like that, just to like relive a taste of just how magical that night was.
I'm not saying, okay, I just want to be clear, guys, because people are going to say I'm racist off of this. I'm not being racist, okay? What I'm saying is that the assumptions that white people in the countryside are going to kill people because they're Asian is like not even based anywhere in reality. That's the point I'm trying to bring. That's the point I was trying to bring up by looking it up, is that it's so nonsensical that like to be a thing to worry about. That like how did my friend even get, how did the person in my friend group, how did they even get to the point of thinking that was a real threat? You see what I mean? Like it's like there's not even like any data that even remotely leads to that. My sister thinks white people in the countryside will kill her because she's gay. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I mean, people told me that too. Like when I moved to Texas, a lot of people told me like, ew, you're moving to Texas, Leaflit? I was like, yeah, I'm moving to Texas. And they're like, you know, they hate Asians there, right? I literally have never had someone be racist to me. Like I've never had it happen. Like not even one time. Like, I don't know, like, do people believe that, like, the freaking KKK are everywhere or something? Like, I'm just confused. Like, I don't know where this even comes from, you know?
You can't understand what it was like to have so many people calling you crazy for years and years, and suddenly it feels like you were right the whole time. But barely a week after he was elected, I had lost basically every friend.
I just want to clarify, guys, just in case people want to take what I said out of context. I think that the thing that matters is culture. Culture is the most important thing. And when you are a part of of bad culture, then it turns you bad.
That I'd had. And the feeling of being ignored didn't go away, even with my candidate in office. But it was so much worse this time because I had literally no one to talk to.
Wait, what?
Didn't go.
Hold on.
And the feeling of being ignored,
hold on,
crazy for years and years, and suddenly it feels like you were right the whole time. But barely a week after he was elected, I had lost basically every friend that I'd had. And the feeling of being ignored didn't go away, even with my candidate in office. But it was so much worse this time because I had literally no one to talk to.
Wait, hold on. So you hang out with people that are left wing, and then you voted for Trump, and now they all don't like you? Is that what happened?
Outside of my family, and even they weren't my biggest fans at this point. It felt nefarious. It felt nefarious. It was like every issue.
Wait, so how does it? Hold on. Okay, where's this story go? So like, how does he become a leftist? I'm what?
About, whether it was game,
what's going on?
Or Occupy or Trump, just the media itself as a machine would try and quash these issues that I cared so much about. Anytime I cared about anything, I would be made to feel crazy, even though Trump had shown me that I wasn't always crazy. And it got in my head so much that by 2018, I didn't even support Trump. Because I wanted America to be a white nation.
What?
It got in my head so much that by 2018, I didn't even support Trump because I wanted America to be a white nation. Let's look at how I got here. I had already been consuming content like Steven Crowder, Ben Shapiro, and Comrade. Cool. And around this time, that coupled with a lot of the conversations
This is absolute pain, I'm not gonna lie.
Going on in the real world made me feel like masculinity, and specifically white masculinity, was kind of under attack or trying to be suppressed in some form.
But it is? Wait, but it is though.
I felt like white men were the villain in everyone's story. Like,
yeah?
I was the villain in everyone's story. Remember
white men are the freest. Like, if you're gonna be a hater, they're the freest to hate on right now, societally. Like, I'm just telling how that this is my observation. It's my observation. I see it all the time. I see all the time that people with impunity can like shit on white people or on white males for free. And nothing will happen to them. In fact, people will probably cheer for you.
It's okay to be white thing. This was an overwhelming success.
It is.
For the right wingers, because the point of this was to get these signs taken down.
It is, because I'm not a racist.
The point was to claim that the reason the signs were taken down is because there was no subtext here. There was no threat, implicit or otherwise. It was that the thing people were against was...
It's right. I have an award. I'm the least racist VTuber of 2025. That's right.
Whiteness itself as a concept. Something that really endeared right-wing spaces to me was the concept.
I'm like the gold ship of anti-racism, guys. In it for the long haul and number one.
Something that's still a very potent weapon of right-wing propaganda. The OK symbol is a Nazi sign. Well, I guess AOC must be a Nazi then. I remember there were all these funny memes, like one was about like standing up to the man, and it basically was just saying, oh, Israel's
What
not
the
legitimate. And there's
fuck,
this
bro?
one meme I really remember about like wooden doors at Auschwitz. What?
Wait. How the gas in the door is made out of wood? Wait. So you don't... Hold on. You don't think that wood could like... Wait, like you're telling me that there's people that seriously believe that like a wooden door couldn't hold in enough gas to actually do that? Man. Guys, voting only for landowners. We need to make this a thing, guys. We need to make or like some kind of test. So you could take like a little IQ test maybe, and then like, you know, maybe we could figure it out that way. I think we need to fix this. I think there's a problem here. I think there's a serious exploit in the system.
So the wooden doors meme is Holocaust denial. The claim is that there are wooden doors to the gas chambers that you can find at Auschwitz, as obviously wood, you know, is not airtight.
It doesn't have to be guys. It doesn't have to be airtight to kill people.
This doesn't make any sense, and therefore these gas chambers must not have actually been gas chambers, but regular showers. Nowadays, if you Google this, you will find a billion things debunking it, but one of the nasty things about conspiracy theories is they're always 2 steps ahead of you. And, and as a result, when I was Googling this stuff...
The thing, okay, you want to know what makes conspiracy theories actually grow? It's when something sus occurs and you bring it up and then everything fucking silences you. That's when conspiracy theories grow. Is when they try to silence you, and then like even things that you say that are based on like reality, they try to tell you it's not real.
There was nothing out there except Nazis pushing their propaganda. I ended up looking up other stuff, and
Joby1 says they never considered that the doors there might not be the original ones. Yeah, I mean there's so many explanations for it.
By the end of it all, I had some really serious questions about World War II. I had actually gone so extreme that not only was I anti-Trump, I was genuinely depressed because this might be the best we'd ever get. Things just started to feel hopeless. It felt like all the problems I saw in the world, me, my race, my culture, were just going to be destroyed, and I couldn't do anything about it. I've seen a lot of videos talking about stuff like this. I've never seen a video from someone who's gone as far as I have, which is...
That's fair. That is brave.
Why I really wanted to share my story, because this was my lowest point. This is literally the worst I had ever been in my entire life, bar none.
Like, I do appreciate like this testimony though. I think it's important to understand.
And what I want to talk about now is how I found my way back. To reiterate, started conservative, then supported Bernie, then supported Trump, and now wanted the ghost of Hitler to come back and take over America. Good? Good. The first person to really get me back into a more sane place of mind is my aunt, who I owe a lot to. She had continued to talk to me during this entire time period, even debating with me about stuff, including certain events during World War II. My conversations with my aunt continued mostly because I felt like she could actually listen to me. She could actually hear what I was saying and respond to me in ways that, to me at least, indicated that she understood what I was saying.
Okay.
And I remember I was having...
See, this is the problem, is people aren't like this anymore. People, like most people, at least like a lot of people are like this, where they don't even want to hear it. They don't even want to hear it. They don't even want to hear you out. Like if you have a different opinion, they don't even want to fucking talk to you. Like you're not a person to them, basically.
An argument with her about how 6 million seemed a little too high. It was probably closer to 200,000, and I very specifically mentioned the wooden doors. While at first she just sort of stumbled around saying things like, why does this even matter? And then, you know, if there is a number...
I mean, it does matter. Why does it even matter is not a good argument. That's actually how you make conspiracy theories happen. If like you ask for, wait, but the doors were wooden. How did the gas get out? Why does it matter? Like it's what allows conspiracy theories to build, actually. You do have to like face it head on, I think.
Why does it matter how big the number was?
It does matter.
And
yeah.
Finally, she asked me.
And the thing is people use this a lot. Like, oh, why do you even care? Why do you even care? Why does it matter? And like these things actually just make it worse.
Where did you read about this? And I remember going online after our conversation, obviously, to look this stuff up so that the next time I talked to her, I would have it all laid out for her in plain.
But it just seems obvious to me that like the door doesn't, that it just seems obvious to me that it like it would matter like the concentration of the gas in the air and not necessarily that concentration being 100%. It doesn't have to be 100% to kill people. Just like any poison doesn't have to be 100% in your body to kill you, right? It just seems obvious. I don't know.
Plain black and white. And I couldn't actually find the website I'd found the first time. And when I kept
in fact
digging, I found someone who showed me how absolutely wrong I was. So I started doing more research and found out that actually wooden doors had been proposed by people who were working for the company that was making Zyklon B around this time. And suddenly I realized everything I had thrown away my friends for.
I need a drink. Is this real? Am I being pranked? Am I being pranked right now? Like, is this real? Like, is this like a troll thing that did I get tricked? Like, am I getting pranked right now?
Everything I had espoused, everything I had basically ruined my entire life over was just a lie.
That was the one that got you the door?
And that really sucked. This period of my life was actually worse than when I was a Nazi, because when I was a Nazi, at least I had a community.
Guys, I think I'm becoming a monarchist. Every day, every
people
day.
I could talk to. Now I straight up had no one.
Thanks for the bits, Clara Jets. Thank you.
Like, imagine going back to your friends and saying, hey, sorry, no, I was a Nazi, totally not a Nazi anymore. Let's be friends again. None of them wanted to see me again. I started, of course, being attacked by the very people that I used to felt I belonged with.
This is the problem. Like, this is the problem, guys, is like, you need to, okay. If you're gonna be political, all right, like if you're gonna be like a person who talks like, and I'm not even saying that, excuse me, I'm not even saying you have to be like the utmost subject matter experts on several different topics, but in general, you should have an understanding of what you believe in. Like, I think, like, honestly, like, I think maybe the art of just like swimming in one's own thoughts might be lost. Is that what's going on? Does like nobody do that? Like you should understand, like, you should understand like what you believe and why you believe, because why you believe it. That way you can come to an understanding of like what's better for everything. Right? Like if you don't think things like, okay, well, here's why I don't think abortion is good. Like if you don't know and it's just what other people tell you, then like how do you know you're not being lied to? Right? And that's not to say you're always going to get it right. Like obviously you're going to get things wrong, but how do you know if you're getting it wrong or you're getting it right if like you don't think about it? I feel like I'm crazy right now or something. Like how is this possible? Like how is this possible that like the door that like the door thing was the one that was like the deciding factor in the belief system? Like how is that even possible? I don't get it, man. Like I feel like a fucking alien, you guys. Like actually, I feel like I'm from a different planet. Like what's going on? Like, like I don't understand. I don't understand people. I feel like the older I get, the less I understand people, and it's like it's lonely, dude. You know, like I feel like I'm going crazy.
There was a lot less love in this community than I had thought there was. And once I realized all of this had been a lie.
Like if you ask me, like Leaflit, why do you think abortion is bad? I could tell you exactly why I think it's bad. If you ask me, like I said, like on the thing, like, what Leaflit, why do you agree with gay marriage? I can tell you exactly why I agree with it. I know the answer to those things because I thought them through.
I started wondering what else I believed might have been a lie, and it turns out it was a lot.
Hey Leaflit, why do you think abortion is bad? I mean, the simple answer is that killing babies is bad. But I mean, there's like there's obviously like a long conversation there. It's kind of like a longer than a one-liner conversation. But the summary is that babies didn't do anything wrong, so killing them is bad. That's it. It's really simple. And basically the argument is going to go, Rognar, thank you for the bits. Acting like fools is fun until you attract actual fools who feel at home. I mean, the problem is it's going to go into like this whole argument of like if they're babies or not, right? And then what is life? And it's going to turn into that argument. And like, I'm glad to have that, but it's going to take like an hour. To me, it's about the method being abused. Okay, okay. Really, okay, if I were to like appeal, like if I were to like not, because the logical argument is going to take me like a while. Like I could make it. I've made it with many people before. And if somebody wants to debate me on it, like feel free to, like really, like I think it's the most, I think that the abortion argument is the most unwinnable one for the pro-abortion people. I think that's a crazy position, I think, to like hold, just in my opinion. I think it's easily defeatable. But if I were to make a quick emotional appeal, it would be just watch a video on it. I can't watch it. Like the fact I can't even watch it on stream is that's basically all you have to know. I can't watch it on stream. Go watch it on your own time and just like tell me what you think about it, I don't know. You have to have a position that a fetus is not a human and it's impossible. Yeah, basically. You have to basically you have to make a lot of assumptions. A lot of assumptions that you can't actually prove. You'd have to make in order to think it's okay. Especially like, and the argument gets even tighter as people try to push the date up on that. So like, for instance, like there are people that argue that like a baby, like the day before it's born is like a viable target for killing and stuff like that. Like people are willing to make that argument, but then like, it's so nonsensical that it's so easy to like, to fight in so many ways. In fact, it's probably my favorite thing to debate. It's my favorite thing to debate because it's so easy. It's basically like free. That's like a pre G3 race for me. Like when I see that, it's like a recommended like pre G3 race. I don't even watch it. I just hit start and then I just see results immediately. I don't even have to watch the race. I already know I won. It's kind of like that. It's that easy. But I would love to have that debate if people disagree with me on it. I'm fine. I'm fine with talking it through because I've thought about it a lot. Coulter says I'm pro-choice, but I know it's bad. Yeah, so you can make okay. So you can make like a see that is like one argument that you kind of could make, Coulter. You can make an argument that like there are two bad things and one of them outweighs the other. But see, that's not the mainstream perspective. The mainstream perspective is that abortion is like 100% good. And it's fucking poggers. That's like how psycho people are on the topic. They're like, yeah, like fuck yeah, I got an abortion, poggers, baby. Like people are like that about it. Like, and that's fucking weird. Like you can make an argument that like, okay, well, you have like a bad thing and another bad thing, and then you have to pick like which one is the worst. And that one's a little bit like harder to fight, that argument, but it's still not hard. It all comes down to like killing somebody is bad, basically. And like you basically would have to agree that either A, we're killing a person and that's okay, or we don't know that there's like a person in like there is a possible person in the box, and then like it's okay for us to just basically shoot the box out, and then like how do I explain it? Basically, if you can't prove, like, if you don't know if that, like, you would have to have like an absolute certainty that a fetus is not a person. If you even doubt it a little bit, then like you're possibly killing a person off of a lack of information. So it's like if there was like I guess like a good way to put it is like if there was a box and then there was possibly a person in it, but you didn't know if there was a person in it, like would you shoot that box out basically with like a machine gun? I need to it's gonna take a while to talk about it basically.
So
it is Schrodinger's baby. It is. And see, there's a lot of people like even further, like you could make like a hypothetical argument that, okay, you know, whatever authority figure that I'm not gonna go into this too long. I'm gonna speed run this. You can go into like a philosophical argument, like a hypothetical that basically, okay, the arbiter of everything, like you pick, like it can be whoever you want, God, Akashic records, whatever the hell you want to use, like just like inspiration or whatever. The DM of the universe, basically, the ultimate truth of the universe tells you to your face that it's a person, that it is definitely 100% a person. Would you still do it? Do you see what I mean? And then like then you can try to see like, okay, well, if they say no, then the issue is the personhood of the thing, and then you can attack it from that angle. You see what I mean? But there's some people that will say yes, and then you're just like done, basically. Like if they say yes, the ultimate power in the universe tell me it's a person, fuck them. Then like you're just kind of like, okay, so you're okay with murder then? I mean, okay, like I mean, fair enough, right? Like I can't argue against that. But yeah, that's basically it.
My own research. In the end, I ended up tearing down basically every single one of my beliefs. And
it's not even Schrodinger's baby because you know that the fetus will become a baby. No, the reason why it's Schrodinger's baby, Raisin, is because you're this is not an argument of potentiality. It's an argument of like if the vessel, the flesh vessel that is the baby actually contains the soul or whatever. Contains like a personhood. Does that make sense? Basically, is it an empty mech or is it a person inside of that mech? That's the argument, basically, where it becomes like a Schrodinger's baby situation.
Building up my entire worldview from scratch. I realized that some institutions were actually good and even necessary for society to function. I realized that 2008, while it wasn't entirely the fault of the banks, more importantly, breaking them up wouldn't really have addressed the underlying issues that caused that crisis. My views on immigration changed as I realized that their contribution to the economy...
Could this be a version of the trolley problem with a box on the main track? Yeah, except the box on the other track is responsibility. Right? So it's like the trolley problem, except like the box could possibly have a person on it, and then the other side is, oh, I have to be responsible for my actions. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's ridiculous. Like the argument is ridiculous, basically.
Was a lot greater than I thought. And I even started thinking of immigration as an economic market in and of itself. People sorting themselves into the areas where they could find the greatest amount of opportunity. And lastly, for race and women, well, here's a photo.
Then sorry, I know this is going to be cut out a lot. Sorry. I'm so sorry, Julio and Crazy. But to go further on that, so what that's going to turn into then is like, oh, well, what about, and this is what they always go to do like every single time. Oh, well, what about people that, you know, they got, you know, essayed or, you know, cases of, you know, Yosugo no Sora, right? Like you have like those cases that you're leaving this in. This is a great comment, bait, Crazy. Okay. Well, you have like the Yosugo no Sora case or the, you know, the essay case, right? They're going to bring that up, but that's such a tiny percentage of things that we're not even talking about that. So what you can do in that case is you can say, okay, well, what if I say that's fine then? So are you okay with it then? And you could fucking squelch it like immediately. Basically, like you go, okay, well, okay, say in those cases, okay, fine. Sure. What if I say that, you know what, I'm willing to take that? Then they never are willing to take it, basically. They're just going to, like, you call them out on that immediately, and then they're just going to back off, basically. And even then, I could make an argument for it. If I had to stick that and not retreat there, I could still make an argument for it, basically, because then you would go into a whole thing of like, well, is the is a person's child responsible for the crimes of their father, basically, and you'd make like that whole argument, right? Yeah, exactly. Like you could make that argument as well, right? Of course, like, and you would make the argument that, of course, like, it's a terrible thing. Like we should take care of that person who like had to go through that, like, obviously, right? But it has nothing to do with like the kid, right? Like you're advocating for executing like an innocent person because of something that someone did. And then, obviously it's terrible. It's a terrible tragedy. And like, we should, I don't know, we should, obviously we should like, maximum punish the person who did it. I would be a fan of like, honestly, like in those cases, like, dude, like absolute, like I don't know, just go full on medieval on them. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like freaking string them up to like 2 horses and shit and just like have them go in opposite directions. And like, I'd be okay for that. Like it has nothing to do with that, obviously. Like, I think we should discourage that to the maximum level, right? But yeah, like obviously it's a bad thing, right, when the person does that, and like we should discourage that societally by having just the highest punishments for those. Obviously, like in cases that like we're 100% sure that they did it, right? I mean, obviously there's like, you have to make some carve outs for, possible lying and stuff like that. Like in cases, like I'm talking like a case where it's like 100% sure, right? Like I said, you could still defend it even in that case. But like most of the time, honestly, if you just like kind of give them the ground there, it usually works like most of the time, where you just basically say like, okay, well, that's fine. You know what? Sure. How about in those cases we allow it, but then we ban it for all other cases? 99% they still stick it anyway. The 90% they don't take that, basically. They won't say like, okay, you know what, I'd be okay with that. 99% of the time they won't say that, and they'll double down, basically, and then you have them, because you said, well, that's not what it's about. Then you can take that off of the table, right? You just completely take it off the table as an argument. It's about like kind of I mean, the way I see it is I see like when you're having like a discussion about, how do I explain it? So like in my mind, this is how it works. When you're having a discussion about like beliefs and you're trying to convince the other person or the audience, like sometimes it's not about convincing the other person because you're never going to convince the other person. Sometimes it's just about convincing like the audience. In those cases, what you would need to do is like, I mean, at least how I see it in my mind is I see it as territory. Like it's like like you're battling a person, and sometimes you have to like back up and let them take territory so that you can encircle them. Do you see what I mean? Sometimes you like bait them into like taking territory, and then you encircle the argument, and then you wipe it out from around it. That's how I see it in my brain.
Market in and of itself, people sorting themselves into the areas where they could find the greatest amount of opportunity. And lastly, for race and women, well, here's a photo of my wedding day. So I'll let you figure out how that one went. Just to be clear though, this was not a quick process. It probably wasn't until the end of 2019 that I really was in a more kind of central place. And by 2020, sure enough, I was riding with Biden. And that's basically the end of my political journey. I'm essentially here to this day, although my friends describe me as a centrist by average of extremes, as opposed to anyone who actually has centrist positions. But let's now talk about what I believe the left can do to help men who are in the position I was in just a few years ago.
Firstly, let's acknowledge something. My path out of the far right is not one we can expect most people to follow. It involved a lot of me doing my own research, and people just genuinely don't seem to like.
You know what this is, basically? This is like proof that like the horseshoe is like, the horseshoe at the ends are really close to each other. Isn't that basically this in a nutshell? That the political spectrum, like the extremes, is like a horseshoe rather than a line, and that the extreme left and extreme right are closer than you think, and that this guy is like right on the middle of it. That's kind of what it feels like.
To do that. Looking back, most of my more radical positions weren't things I reasoned or researched my way into. They were usually just the positions of the community.
He's not really like a centrist, like in terms of being like a centrist at the bottom of the horseshoe, like a true centrist. He's a centrist like hopping between the two ends of the horseshoe. Because like, how do you go from like, I mean, I don't know.
I was a part of that I had joined because they were talking about a completely unrelated issue that I cared about. Even when I drifted a little more to the left, it was because of the conversations I was having with my friends or the community I was a part of. And therein lies both a problem and a path forward. The problem is that you're fighting against the inertia of communal conditioning.
Ken, thank you so much for the gift sub to Don Hanto. Thank you. Thank you.
But the path forward is that most of these communities are online these days, which means there are fantastic avenues to reach out to men, both before and during radicalization. Though I didn't talk about it as much, my incel phase was brought about by the very real issues I, as a man, faced when I was dating. Like, here's a great example. There's a fear in a lot of these communities of men who have never had sex that if they're ever alone with a woman, she'll try to ruin his life by falsely Me Tooing him.
Wait, what?
There's a fear I, as a man, faced when I was dating. Like, here's a great example. There's a fear in a lot of these communities of men who have never had sex that if they're ever alone with a woman, she'll try to ruin his life by falsely Me Tooing him.
But people do that though. That's probably a... Okay. Hold on. I think, okay. Well, I don't think that, okay, so I'm going to make an argument again, and like, I don't want people to confuse what is and what I think it should be. Obviously, I don't think that should be the case. I think that that's awful and it shouldn't be the case. But I'm going to say now what it is. And what it is that that actually is 100% true. And that guys should be worried about that. Because there are cases of it happening. It's the same thing with like a woman walking down like a dark alley at night. It's not an issue of like, it shouldn't be that way, that you should fear doing that as a woman. But that is what it is that walking down a dark alley at night does increase your chances of being attacked. So like, it's something that you should be wary of, right? Basically what I'm saying, that it is a thing that you should worry about, because it is possible for a woman to do that.
There's a fear in a lot of these communities of men who have never had sex that if they're ever alone with a woman, she'll try to ruin his life by falsely Me Tooing him.
Because it's something that they can do after the fact in order to get back at you for like, if you, I don't know, for something that you did. So it is something that you have to like be aware of, right?
I read that it's unsafe.
And that's not to say like you should be afraid of like every woman. It's something that you should get a feel for like as you get to know a person. You know, just like normal. It's the same thing like with a woman. Like, should a woman be in a room alone with a man when she could get like attacked, right, by him? It's an issue of kind of knowing the person ahead of time, obviously, right?
To even be in the same room as like a woman without a third party.
I think a lot of times this purely gets chalked up to a hyperfixation on a small number of instances. But in my opinion, there's actually a deeper underlying concern there. And it's one men don't get to talk about a lot. Namely, that it's really hard to be the pursuer in romantic situations. It's difficult to know things like, when should you approach someone and when shouldn't you? How can you show interest without seeming desperate? And how do you take the initiative without making them feel pressure? Men do need spaces to talk about these kind of issues. And as much as you might say, oh, well, men already have spaces, in my experience, they don't. And if they already did, how did Andrew Tate explode in popularity? Remember,
the funny thing is I actually have a lot of guy friends that talk to me about this. Or they'll message me and they'll be like, hey, Leaflit, can you give me some advice like about this? About like, can you give me some advice about women? And like, I'm willing to talk to my friends about it. It's like, it's just funny because like this happens a lot to me.
The main thing the guy sells to young men is how to get women. And it's not helpful when people say, oh, don't go to, you know, the red pill space. They're bad. They'll teach you bad habits. And then you say, oh, okay, good to know. I won't go there. So where should I go? And everyone's just like, just be yourself, bro. Men will just find other spaces where they can have those conversations. And some of those spaces will have underlying agendas. A large part of my journey towards radicalization was uncritically
because it fucking happens. I was almost honey trapped by a woman who did that to men before she made a guy himself from accusations when it was proven false. Yeah, it does happen. Like there's nothing you can do to stop evil. Evil exists. Evil exists regardless of if the person is a man or a woman. Both men and women are capable of evil, but the way in which men and women execute evil is different because of physical disparities and just differences in like mental styles, I guess. So yeah.
Accepting misinformation. And I think, in general, pushing back against misinformation is good, but you're always going to be one step behind them. Now, personally, I think this is just people getting used to the internet. Anytime any new mode of communication comes out, misinformation spreads with it as a result. Encouraging critical thinking, trying to get people...
Shai says, I'm a firm believer that deliberate false reporting and accusations on a legal level should be very harshly punished. Yes, I think so too, Shai. I agree with you on that. So somebody asked something about like how do women execute evil? In different ways, because women aren't as physically strong. So executing evil through physical force is a lot less viable for women, right? Whereas that's why you have like a lot of cases where like, for instance, and this isn't to say it doesn't happen, like women will like sometimes try to punch men like physically, but they're just so weak that generally it does really, really low damage. The DPS is really, really low. Whereas like if a man punches a woman, it's like it's like burst damage, right? It's like 100 damage in one hit, right? So it's like it's a lot different. Women generally, they'll go for like damage over time. They'll go for damage over time, or they'll basically lie about you behind your back to like get other people to attack you, right? Because it's more like women have more of an understanding of like social stuff, so they're able to manipulate and maneuver social stuff a lot more. Yeah. Whenever women resort to like physical violence is usually poisoning, because again, they lack the physical capabilities. Like even if a woman were to use like a gun, the odds of her succeeding is still a lot less, right? Because if she misses, if she basically fails the ambush, then she's cooked, right? So it's really it's just an issue of physicality and also just thought process is different. Different between women and men.
To interface with the internet as a not necessarily trustworthy medium. These kinds of things will come with time as people get more used to it. But a much larger part of that is building spaces that are comfortable with engaging in these kinds of conversations, even when your conversation partner is someone you might personally find deplorable. I know there's a lot of people on the left who say, you know, they hate engaging with the right, it's very tiring, they hate, you know, combating all the misinformation. But the problem is people on the right do not have similar qualms about engaging with the left. One thing of...
He said it, not me.
It's very tiring, they hate, you know, combating all the misinformation. But the problem is people on the right do not have similar qualms about engaging with the left. One thing of caution, though, is I think these spaces have to not be political, at least at first. I've seen a lot of people say stuff like, we need a Joe Rogan of the left. And frankly, I tend to agree with this. But then they just keep suggesting people like political streamers. When, in my opinion, Joe Rogan's fans don't see his show.
Joe Rogan is kind of neutral, to be honest. The thing about Joe Rogan is he likes to actually understand like what people are saying. And that's not how a lot of these people operate, right? That's not to say that there couldn't be someone like that. In fact, Joe Rogan was kind of left. Now I think about it. So it, yeah.
As like inherently a political space. In fact, the vast majority of his guests are just comedians that he just talks about, you know, whatever's going on. I personally first really got into Joe Rogan when he was interviewing some of those people who were criticized by people I perceived as like, you know,
is that Warren?
Leftists, the postmodern neo-Marxists that are controlling the universities, like that kind of thing. No, I can do it better.
Was that Warren, or did it just look like Warren? I think Warren was on.
Better, Jordan Peterson. Hold on, I can do it better. It's not right. He gave a platform to talk about something which I was curious about and wanted that kind of perspective on, and that no one else was talking about at that
I love freaking Warren. Warren is like my two the two guys I watch for kind of philosophical stuff, the two guys I watch are very different.
And then because I'd kind of already bought into him as a result of that, I stuck around. But again, I didn't start listening to Joe Rogan because I liked his politics. I started listening to Joe Rogan because he had an interesting space. There's nothing inherently wrong with labeling spaces as political.
Yeah, like Joe Rogan just wants to hear what people have to say. And he lets people say what they have to say, and then he asks questions like to try to better understand them. That's why I like Joe Rogan too.
They're never going to be gateways. They're never going to help people genuinely shift their positions unless
hey,
they're
James. Thanks for the follow, man.
with another political space that already exists. But the problem in that case is you really have to know not just your own side's arguments, but the other side's arguments really, really well. Some of my most successful interactions that I've had with people online started with me engaging with people who had a different...
This is the problem, is a lot of people on the left don't even know what your argument is. It's almost always like a crazy straw man. Every time they try to argue against you, it's like some weird like straw man argument like you don't even believe. Almost every single time.
Opinion than me. I was able to speak with a language and in a manner that let them know that I heard them. And that
like for instance, like just take me for example. Like, oh yeah, Leaflit's a Nazi. Like, okay, well, I don't like them, so what do you mean? What do you mean I'm a Nazi? Oh, well, you're a Nazi. Okay, well, explain it. They can't, right? Because it's not real.
Understood where they were coming from. And in some of those cases, I was able to convince people to come over to my side. Well, a little bit, and maybe I'm just flattering myself. I don't know. Sound off in the comments if you hate me. So the takeaway here from a former white nationalist turned, I don't know, liberal now, I guess? I don't know. The internet labels politics really weird. If you ask like a leftist, I'm probably
Is he really liberal? Like, I'm confused. like
center right. And if you ask someone on the center right, I'm probably far left. So I don't know. I have a lot of weird positions from both ends.
Question for you, I'm a new Twitch streamer. Am I able to play music from CDs on Twitch? Technically, no. Technically, no.
Of the political spectrum, and anyway, for the average person,
depends on the
CD. We just need more spaces where people can come and hang out. And for the people who've already started to go down the path towards radicalization a little bit, we need people who can interact with those spaces. Trying to get everyone on your side is a futile endeavor. And frankly, in a political context, opposition is a very positive thing.
It is.
But not all is lost.
That's what I keep saying.
If you can take away anything.
That's a good point. That like it is good to have opposition because that's how you reach the best idea. Right? Like, how do you know what the best solution is if you don't test it against other people's ideas? You like PvP your ideas out and you're like, okay, well, you know what? Your idea sounds better. Let's do what you said.
From my story.
That's what I want.
Always get better. Thanks for watching. Different from my other 3 videos. You know, I just woke up day after election and said, oh, I got to make this video
Or just
now.
improve on it. Yeah.
But I am still working on the Christian syncretism video. It's exploded into a much bigger thing. Now it's like the entire history of Roman theology from like, you know, 800 to 1000 BC to like 500 AD. So it's going to be multiple videos. It's just going to take a long time, but it is coming out. I am still working on it, I promise. That being said, let me know if you like this. These videos are obviously quite a bit easier for me to make and crank out. And if my story can tell you anything, I care deeply about this kind of stuff. But yes, more history content is coming soon. Thanks for watching. I don't know how to end YouTube videos. I feel weird because I'm just standing in front of a green screen, staring at my phone. The end.
So like basically, like, I guess my take on the video, I do appreciate like him telling a story. It's kind of brave to do that, I think, nowadays. So, you know, I do appreciate that part of it. You heard what I said about it already. I mean, I don't really need to re-summarize, but I'm gonna link you guys the video so you guys can check it out. Link it on both chats. Yeah, the ending wasn't bad. Yeah.